Since you're watching this video with little context, this is a practice rep of a sales engineering demo presented as if it were a real customer. So the customer is Ships R Us, and it's a shipping company that has over 4,000 drivers, and they've recently built a solution where they are matching drivers to loads so that they can increase shipments. And so far, the solution is working, but it can be dramatically improved. So in this call, I'm the sales engineer showing them how to improve it with Hightouch, a data activation platform. And while the company is fake, the solution I've built is very real. So I'm using Snowflake and dbt for data warehousing and modeling. I'm using Hightouch for data activation. And then I'm sending real email and text notifications using Twilio and SendGrid. So we're going to pick up after a discovery call. Here we go. Hi team, first off, we are really impressed with this recommendation engine that you and your team have built. It seems that you really are increasing shipments with this solution, so we're not going to touch that recommendation engine at all. Like we discussed last call, the real opportunity for us to work together is on the delivery portion of the solution. So the agenda for today's call is, first, I want to go over a bit about what we learned about your team last week. And after that, I will show you a live solution where we will be sending real email and text messages to some demo drivers. And I'll do that at the end. So here's what I learned about your solution last week. So you have load, driver, and truck data that is being used for your recommendation engine. And when a match is made, that data lands in Snowflake, where your team is already doing some dbt modeling. And that recommendation engine is working great. Drivers are getting matched. And then there's the delivery portion. So you have Airflow, which is a custom pipeline that requires Python and also requires the help of your data engineers. And you're sending data to Marketo, where you are able to send each driver one email per day. Is that roughly what your solution is? Could you please correct me if I got anything wrong? Great. Okay, so like I said, the recommendation engine is working great. We don't want to touch that. The opportunity is in delivery. And three problems that you mentioned with delivery is, one, right now you can only send emails to your drivers, and a lot of your drivers either aren't checking their emails at all, or they see the notifications too late and the load has already expired. You also mentioned that your current system allows you to send only one email per driver per day. So if a match lands in your data warehouse at 9 a.m. today, you can't send that out until tomorrow morning. And third, the delivery portion is built on a custom pipeline with Airflow and Python. And your team, like you said, the ops team owns the outcome of this recommendation engine, but they don't own the solution itself. And all three of these problems do impact revenue. A load that waits in Snowflake is potentially revenue delayed, and a notification that's completely missed by your drivers is revenue lost. And that's where Hightouch comes in. Beyond sending emails to your drivers, you can send notifications to any platform of your driver's choice. We have over 250 destinations, so if they want to receive emails, text messages, social media DMs about these recommendations, we can support that. Additionally, you can send these notifications at any frequency, and you can send as many notifications to drivers as they prefer. So, solving that problem, if a match lands in your warehouse at 9 a.m., it can be in a driver's hands at 9:01. And third, you no longer have a custom pipeline with Python to maintain. You can manage the entire delivery system through Hightouch's UI. So now your ops team, who owns the outcome, also owns the solution itself. So a closer look at that. Again, I just want to emphasize, we don't want to touch your recommendation engine at all. That's working perfectly. All Hightouch is going to do is it's going to take the matches from your data warehouse and it's going to send those notifications to any platform of your choice. So you really can think about it as a replacement for your current Airflow job that your team owns. And in this demo that I'm about to show you, we will be sending notifications using Twilio. We'll send SMS messages, and we will send emails using SendGrid. So, so far, does that make sense? Great. So enough with the slides for a second. Let's pause on those and let's do a live demonstration. So, of course, your recommendation is running continuously. I'm going to stand in its place right now, and I will add 3 rows of raw data that are recommendations. So 2 of these rows will be load recommendations that will be sent to drivers via email, and the other one will be a text message to a driver. Before we do that, you mentioned that you do DBT modeling, so I'm going to run a DBT project that will ingest these new recommendations. And while that is running, please correct me if I'm misunderstanding how your DBT project works, but it looks like you have a staging layer where you're doing simple cleaning and deduping of data, and then you have an intermediate layer where a lot of your logic lives within the DBT project. So you're answering questions like, which load hasn't this driver heard about yet? Does this driver prefer to get text or email notifications? And also, can we notify this driver right now? You mentioned that a lot of drivers have requested quiet hours, and they've also requested caps on how many notifications they receive in a day. And all of that lands in a singular fact table of eligible notifications that can be sent out ASAP. And in this fact table, each row of data is a notification to be sent out. And this architecture that you've built actually works perfectly with Hightouch and your data governance, because that fact table is the only thing that Hightouch will read. So you don't have to worry about Hightouch writing anything to your data warehouse. You don't have to worry about it breaking anything. So going back to that DBT project, great. It ran successfully. There were tests, so we have a fresh fact table of notifications to be sent out immediately. And let's take a look at that. Great, there we go. So in this demo, we have 3 drivers with their names. We have the message body of the notification we will send them. And we also have a primary key. And remember that because that will be relevant for understanding Hightouch shortly. So for your team, at this point in the demonstration, this is where your team is now waiting 24 hours before they can send out that recommendation to a driver. That's no longer the case with Hightouch. So I'm going to head over to Hightouch now. And I've already built out these integrations. So I connected this Snowflake data warehouse that I just showed you. I've also included that fact table that Hightouch will read from. Additionally, I have set up 2 syncs. So the first one is a sync that will send notifications to drivers that prefer email. And the second one is a sync that sends text message notifications to drivers. And the platforms I'm using for those are Twilio and SendGrid. You can use whatever platforms you'd like for your drivers. So I'm going to run this text message sync. Next, I'll run the email one. So this pane is pretty much what is replacing your Airflow jobs right now. So your ops team can send syncs, you can manage your syncs here, and you no longer need data engineers to support this solution. So I'm a driver, and right now it is 4:07 my time, and I just received a text notification of a load that's ready for pickup in Salt Lake City, and I can accept or reject it. Additionally, 2 more of your drivers just received email notifications. Right now it is still 4:07. There we go. And I have 1 load that's ready to accept in San Francisco and another one that's ready to accept in Seattle. So right there in that demonstration, we covered the three major problems that you have with delivery. But before we discuss those, demos are always perfect. When your solution is running in production, obviously it's not. Things will break. Things need to be fixed. So I'm going to show you an example of what happens when a sync fails. So right here, there we go. So I ran this yesterday against similar data, and what Hightouch is doing is every time a sync runs, it's looking at that primary key that I showed you, and it's checking which ones are new. If there's a brand new primary key, a notification gets sent to a driver. If it's a duplicate, then nothing gets sent out at all. So you mentioned last week that with your current system, a lot of your drivers are getting duplicate notifications. That's no longer an issue at all. And let's say one of those notifications has an issue. Hightouch will catch that immediately. So here, one of the rows didn't send out, and SendGrid has the data right here. It says, we can't send this out because this is an invalid email address. So you and your ops team, you can copy this error message, you can go solve the issue, and you can also click right into our documentation to help you solve it immediately. And the last thing I want to show you in this demo is I'm going to run this email sync once again just to prove that if there's no new data or if there's duplicate data in your model, nothing's getting sent out to your drivers. So right here, you can see that the email sync read 2 rows of data, and it determined these are not new primary keys. These are not new messages to send out to drivers. Now, let's go back. I want to make sure that this demonstration in Hightouch is really solving the problems that you discuss. So first, your solution is email only. You've seen in this demonstration that you can send notifications to drivers on whatever their preferred channel is. Second, you're only able to send one notification every 24 hours. You just saw that the second a match lands in Snowflake, you can have a notification in a driver's hands immediately, within minutes. And third, you no longer have to deal with that custom Airflow pipeline with Python. That's completely gone. You can manage everything through Hightouch's UI. So last week you also mentioned what the rough costs are, or what this solution is costing you in missed out revenue. So each load you generate about $400 in revenue, and your solution sends out 1,000 notifications per day. Additionally, about 2% of these either aren't seen by drivers at all, or they say it too late and that load is expired or taken by somebody else. So that equates to about $8,000 per day in opportunity cost, or $250K per month. Now, that's chicken scratch math. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but even if we cut that in half, that is a lot of revenue left on the table, and Hightouch can help you recover it. And we have to be honest about the other side too. Switching to Hightouch isn't just a snap of a finger. If you want to build out an MVP solution like I showed you in this demonstration, where you connect your Snowflake data warehouse and you set up an email and text message sync, that'll take an afternoon, and I will support your team to build it. Additionally, I just showed you a sliver of the Hightouch platform, but if you want to leverage our other features like custom scheduling, sending out alerts when a sync breaks, or using our AI decisioning to help you personalize your messages, that'll take an additional probably 9 hours of your team's time to really understand and utilize the whole Hightouch platform. So expect about a week of work to really get Hightouch up and running, and I'll be supporting you the whole time. Now, I think we should start sending out notifications to your team with Hightouch immediately, it would be irresponsible to send it out to all 4,000 of your drivers, but what if we selected 200 of them as a pilot and we started sending them notifications this week? What we could do is set up, success criteria together. So I think if we did median time from match to claim, we could really understand if Hightouch is improving your system, because we know the exact timestamp of when a match lands in your data warehouse, and we also know when a notification is accepted by a driver. So if that's improving over time, Hightouch is likely a very good solution for your ops team. And lastly, you're probably curious how much Hightouch costs. I promise we will get to that, but before we do you have any questions about what I've talked about today or the demonstration itself? All right, that's my practice rep of a sales engineering demo. I have a ton that I need to learn. I've gained a lot of respect for people that are selling. It's not easy. It's really hard to organize your thoughts, and it's even harder to present them. So I'm going to keep doing this, and I hope I get a lot better, and I hope I get more opportunities to sell solutions like Hightouch.